Hello everybody and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to my latest episode here of New Music Weekly, the show where I give you guys the prog news headlines for the week, introduce you guys to some new prog singles, and give you updates on what's happening here on the channel on Nathan on Shuffle. So really excited to be with you guys here today. It's probably going to be a bit of a shorter episode, not a ton of news items, but there's a couple of really interesting, cool new things happening that I wanted to let you guys know about. Today is January 17th, 2025. There really isn't any notable new releases that I was aware of that came out this weekend, so I'll jump right into the news items. Hopefully you guys don't mind. And I wanted to talk first about the LA fires and their impact, particularly on Rich Mauser's studio, which is dubbed by many the Mouse House. A lot of people in this orbit have been remarking about it because it was utilized by a lot of modern progressive rock musicians, especially those centered around Neil Morse and Mike Portnoy and that family of musicians. Spock's Beard, all of those guys did a lot of work there at Rich Mauser's studio. He's done a ton of work on a lot of those notable releases. And unfortunately, the fires burned down the studio, both Rich Mauser's home and his studio as well. So a very tragic loss of this. Of course, Rich Mauser himself and his family seem to be fine, but it's just the studio itself and his home. Mike Portnoy himself put out a message about the damage through the Los Angeles area and how his heart goes out to Rich Mauser, whose home and studio in Altadena was destroyed by this nightmare. Rich's makes probably half of your favorite albums. He's done all the Neil Morse stuff, Neil Morse Band, Transatlantic, Flying Colors, a lot of Liquid Tension Experiment and Dream Theater as well. So a lot of history there, a lot of vintage equipment. There's a GoFundMe set up to help Rich Mauser out after this devastating loss, set up, I believe, by his family members, by his daughter. So just wanted to put that out there as an early note here. He's doing a lot of work right now with the ongoing Morse Fest. I believe the UK Morse Fest that involves Neil Morse and is a big semi-progressive rock festival that he's doing the sound mixing and such this weekend. So he's still out there active and working. I saw a message, I believe, from Magic Pie that they recently just had their newest album mixed there and got their mixes back just recently. So it's pretty devastating, and it's close to home here because if you're not aware, I live in the area. I live in Southern California, not quite in the heart of LA. I live about an hour east of it. So the fires haven't impacted me too much here, so I'm safe and everything's fine. Where I live, there's been intense and heavy winds, which of course have been what's contributed to the fire outbreak there. But in my neck of the woods, beyond the intense winds and some like intermittent power outages, we're actually doing okay, and it seems like the worst of it is over and passing. So that's the update about the LA fires and what's been going on. Just wanted to mention that at the top of the show. Next, Charlie Griffiths is releasing a new studio album, Gods of Pangaea, basically taking on this moniker of Tiktaalik, which was his last album. Charlie Griffiths is one of the key members of the band Haken, one of the best modern progressive metal bands, and this seems to be kind of a tribute to maybe more thrash style metal, basically having its DNA in artists such as Merciful Fate, Judas Priest, Megadeth, and Metallica, but there's little touchstones of prog in the mix as well, if his first solo album is anything to go by. He's joined by a host of different artists on this album, Darby Todd on drums, bassist Connor Green, who's the bass player in Haken, along with some great vocalists, Tommy Rogers from Between the Buried and Me, Roddy Walker from Protest the Hero, Vladimir Lalik from Organized Chaos, and of course Texture's Daniel De Jong, who's on the title track, which is released, Gods of Pangaea. That'll be on my singles list, so definitely check that one out. Should be an interesting album. The album comes out, I believe, in March. I should have the date here. Let me look it up really fast. Yeah, the date of release is March 14th. and there's pre-order campaigns going, ordering it in different formats like vinyl and CD and all of the different things. So definitely pick that up. I think it's going to be worth your time, especially if you're on the metal side of the spectrum. I think that's going to be a really notable, great release for this year. I wanted to bring in some classic Yes news, of course, on the docket here today. The Super Deluxe edition of Yes's album Close to the Edge is on the way. This is their 1972 classic that many people herald as maybe the best prog album of all time. It's going to be a real exclusive box set featuring 5 CDs, a vinyl record, and Blu-ray disc through Rhino Records on March 7th. The new set features a remaster of the original album on vinyl and CD, Steven Wilson vocal and instrumental remixes, as well as Dolby Atmos 5.1 and high-res stereo mixes, also by Wilson. There's a trailer out that showcases all of the great material that you can get here. Also, the release will feature rare and unissued outtakes, early versions, and single edits of America and Total Mass Retain, as well as material from the band's 1972 Close to the Edge tour, including a whole show at London's Rainbow Theatre from December 16th, 1972. So a lot of great material for classic Yes fans. They keep doing these big super deluxe editions of all their classic records. They did Fragile recently last year, so makes sense that they're continuing onward and doing Close to the Edge. So should be an exciting release for collectors. I know I have a lot of Yes fans, and I'm a Yes fan myself, so really great news in the Yes camp. Should be a fun big release to check out and look forward to. Item number 4, Envy of None detail their upcoming second album, Stygian Wavz. This is an art rock quartet. Their album's coming out through K-Scope Records on March 14th. They have the somewhat title track out now that'll be on my Prog singles list. Why it's notable in the Prog community is that Alex Lifeson of Rush is the guitarist in this group. We've also got Coney Hatch bassist Andy Curran, and they're joined by vocalist Maya Wayne. And it's a little bit more modern sounding, a little bit more like kind of electronica and poppy, but it's cool to hear the DNA of like Alex Lifeson in the mix here, and I think it's a pretty creative, cool project if the singles are any indication. This is their second album, so their previous one was pretty cool as well. I believe it was just a self-titled release. But the album will be out on a selection of formats, including colored vinyl, standard black vinyl, CD, Blu-ray, digitally, and as a special deluxe edition box set, including a lot of materials, CD and Blu-ray, Dolby Atmos, 5.1 surround, high-res stereo mixes. Plus, there's going to be a gatefold green and black marble LP with band member prints and a 12-page booklet featuring track-by-track notes from the band and exclusive photography. So a lot on board, a lot to get into with this release. Like I said, March 14th is when we can look forward to that. And it'll be something I'll mention on the channel, certainly, when it comes out. So just wanted to put the flag down and mention that on the channel. Item number 5, just kind of a fun little bonusy item. I watched Mike Portnoy did a YouTube video where he's playing along to Taylor Swift's Shake It Off. This is from Drumeo, his sessions with them. He did a couple videos with them that have come out over the past several months. And this was a really fun one where they put a challenge to him. They had him listen to Shake It Off by Taylor Swift with the drum part removed so he could add his own drum part to it. He did kind of a spontaneous version and then did a more measured version later that he actually worked out as he listened through the song. And surprisingly, he'd never heard of Taylor Swift before. I mean, he'd heard of her, but he had never heard the song before, so it was a fresh new take on it, and it was kind of fun to see Mike Portnoy's take on a pop song and how those two worlds kind of combine and mesh, and just his humor and the fun involved. So definitely worth checking out that video if you haven't seen it yet. A lot of fun to be had if you're a big fan of Mike Portnoy and his drumming skills. And so that leads us to some of the singles on my list this week. I have another Pattern Seeking Animals track on my list, Down the Darkest Road, which is a bit more ballad-esque with some beautiful strings and orchestration, some mandolin plucking, some lush arrangements. This is from their upcoming album, Friend of All Creatures, which is coming out February 14th. Definitely going to be reviewed on this channel. Excited to get into it in a couple weeks' time. So that'll be a great release to look forward to. Couple other Inside Out releases here. Binthos is the band, and the song is called Pure. This is an Italian prog metal band. This is their upcoming, as yet unnamed album that's going to be released this spring. Their first on Inside Out Records. Based on some early information that I've seen kind of rolling around, I think it's going to be releasing probably in April, like April 11th. The album title may tentatively be called From Within, but we'll see. I'm not sure if that's an official title yet or not. And the single's really cool. This one's a little bit more laid back and jazzy and dynamic compared to the first one, which was a lot heavier with some screaming vocals. This one has a bit of that towards the end of the track as well. A lot of energy, a lot of, intenseness to this. But it's really cool in the modern prog metal landscape. I think this could be a really cool release. So definitely check out that single. And then sometime in February, their track called Palantir is on my singles list. They announced that their new album, Where Mountains Hide, is coming out March 21st on Inside Out. Their first on the record label. They hail from Charlotte, North Carolina, and are an instrumental guitar trio with sophisticated yet accessible compositions. So really cool little group that has released some really cool singles, some great virtuoso playing, and should be another cool album to look forward to. And I also wanted to mention Coheed and Cambria, who released a track called Someone Who Can, very poppy and fun, and just a really blast of a track that I just fell in love with. So I wanted to mention that. Their new album, The Father of Make Believe, will be coming out on March 14th. So a lot of new albums coming out in the next few months. A lot of cool singles to check out. And so that's what I have for you today. Now for the update of the channel of what's been going on here. It's been a pretty busy week of shows on the channel. I've been really pleased with how these shows have performed. And thank you guys so much for viewing them and supporting me and commenting and liking and doing all those things. It's been well appreciated. I did a somewhat channel update on Monday where I just talked about my goals for the new year and what you can expect from the channel moving forward. On Tuesday, I did what I called the State of the Prog, where I just talked through all the different bands that I follow and their current activities and what I expect from them this year. I did my top 25 albums of the decade so far, which was a lot of fun. That one in particular got a lot of good attention. A lot of people seem to like my list and contributing their own list in the comments. A really great look into my taste and what I love in music. And then I did a vinyl haul of just all of the other releases that I picked up over the last half of 2024. So that was a lot of fun to do for you guys. And now I have a New Music Weekly coming out today. So, and next week should be cool as well. I think I'm going to do an Echolin review for their release Time Silent Radio. I've been a little conflicted if I'm going to do a review now or wait a little bit because those who pre-ordered the album already had it since January 1st. But I believe the wider release doesn't really happen until March, so it's a little bit in a limbo area, this new album, but I love it, and I just really have to talk about it, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and film my thoughts and put that out on the channel. And I'm also going to be doing a video of my favorite albums of the 21st century so far. Rather than just the decade, let's expand out further and talk about some of the best records that have come out since the year 2020. I thought that would be fun since we're a quarter into the century, get a good look at what prog has looked like over the past 25 years. So that's going to be the videos for this week. Hopefully you enjoy that. I'm hoping to get out another Jana episode, us reacting to a song, but we haven't quite filmed that yet, so I'm not quite sure what that's going to be. But that's the hope for this Sunday as well. So that's what you can expect on the channel. Just a lot more activity, a lot of fun stuff ahead. I'm trying to think of some cool creative ideas for you guys and just trying to keep my finger on the pulse of all the great new prog music coming out and just all the great new music in every genre. So hopefully you guys appreciate that, and let me know in the comments any news items I may have missed that I didn't touch upon here. Would be much appreciated. So thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you guys hopefully in a future episode. Enjoy the music, everybody.